was more like experimental. The best place would be some kind of middle ground. The silly things I do daily. And deadlift, I believe it's called Sibulangit or something like that. Simply observing, I feel like some practicing it. It's like he's imprinting it. And in a way, we have more so that's just a little detour from my being taught by the master literary. And the mic picks up the noise. People have kind of a thick, so I didn't get time to go there. On the platform, uncategorized. I personally feel like hello everyone. In this video, we will exchange the roles with Sheila, and I will do the talking. We were curious, what would the reactions like? I hope that you will understand my English with my accent, as English is not my mother tongue. And I personally feel like my accent is very uncategorized. There's so many accents of English, and especially when you come from Europe, you can tell where you come from just by the accent of your English. French people have their own, Germans have their own, Russians have their own, and in my country, people have kind of a thick accent that you can recognize if you're familiar with it. Which reminds me that once we were with Sheila in a shopping mall, talking on escalators, and there was an American who overheard us talking, and he asked where I'm from, that I'm not speaking Chinglish, and that's what we call it in here in Czech. So I'm kind of myself unaware where would my accent fall mostly. Seems like we finally caught some moment of silence in this building and neighborhood, as there's always something going on noise-wise. There's an airport nearby, but not like an international airport, just an airport for kind of a air club and school for pilots. And there we go. First night of the lift. As Sheila mentioned in our previous video, on the floor, as we suspect she has a certain compulsive behavior, going with the rubbish that's in a paper bag size of the one you would put sandwich in. Once I was in a balcony having my coffee, and she was closing all the containers to be closed, because sometimes people don't close the top. I was straightening them in a line because they have wheels, and as people open them and close them, they move a little. So she made sure they're in line and closed. She has some urges, and we think that is causing her going up and down to lift so much. But anyway, I was talking about the airport nearby. It's just a grass, it's not really a very developed facility. Most airports for these small planes are just a nicely cut grass with moss. I don't know if actually people on Asthma Channel are aware, but I am pilot myself. I am holder of a pilot license for private flying. Many of you praise this microphone and the sound enhancement, which we are so happy for. But I have to tell you guys, it has its downs. For example, you would never think that sometimes, because this mic is so sensitive, we have to take a break because we are either hungry or we are digesting, and the mic picks up the noise of the stomach. So those are the things you never thought you'd be considering when making asthma videos. We've been having a Patreon page for quite some time, but it was more like experimental. We want to figure out how it works, what it's about. And recently, people subscribed and became our patrons, I think they call them on this platform. And we are really considering becoming more active on this platform, since people are willing to subscribe, support us, and in a way we have more potential to have free hand and do things that, for example, here wouldn't be completely in a compliance with the policy and the family friendliness of this platform, which we fully respect. So I want to thank everybody who subscribed, but is something you would welcome, you can let us know. I believe either on Patreon you can send us messages, I'm not quite sure, or here in the comment section. So the latest topic basically on the channel was approaching well-being in a conscious way. I mean, that's why you're probably here, to get some rest, relax, relieve anxiety, feel well, at ease. So if you're curious, you can look it up. But it is challenging for me definitely to be ble to express my observations in a way that makes sense in a language that is my secondary, in a format of videos which I've never done before. So you have to bear with me there a little bit if you wanna watch. But I believe in learning by doing, and only practice and experience can get you forward. I feel like that's something that is kind of disappearing from our era. I mean, for example, the idea of sensei, where some master teaches you certain craft to perfection by you being taught by the master, literally experiencing it, practicing it. It's like he's imprinting it in you. Today we are left just with theoretical information, but there's no masters. So we have to creep over what we do. And not everybody's willing to look like a fool. And then they feel sad because they don't get to do what they would decide to do. So that's just a little detour from my topic of what I was talking about. I started this channel with shaving my hair pretty regularly, because that's the kind of hairstyle I used to keep for since I was a child. None other occurred to me as option, and that's what hyped me to let the hair grow. Just what kind of a person would appear in the mirror if I let it grow. And it's gonna be 2 years next month. 2 years of them being untouched by scissors or any trimming machine. And I have to say that I really like the change. a sense that with the long hair, when I look in a mirror, I see a different person than the person who didn't have long hair, and what that person visually represented, which is the past that I'm trying to leave behind and go forward in life. I mean, when people got baptized, they would change name, right? To identify themselves as a new person. So in a smaller manner, I would say that's the feeling and vibe I'm getting from the long hair. It says a new chapter of life, of me, of my being. I could literally say that the hair kinda grew on me. This year I didn't get to go to Kenya with Sheila. We had started a little bit more than we can chew in some sense. Chasing, they say when you chase too many rabbits you get nuts. We are chasing rabbits in all kind of ways. So I didn't get time to go there, and frankly I think it was more practical, me not going. I wouldn't be much of help there. And she got to spend some time with her family alone after a long time. And from me, every time I go to Kenya, I get more used to it there somehow. Like if I was, let's say, to pack up my bag and move there with my first visit, it would be way too forceful. At least for the type of a person I am, I need to kind of adjust like a fish. You just don't dump me somewhere in your water. You just slowly adapt me. But as we keep going there more and more, I can get a better idea of the pros and cons. I feel like, in some sense, I could even adapt completely and actually be glad to be there and leave this where we live behind. But who knows? It's just thoughts I'm playing with sometimes. What would it be like? It's hard to describe and put in words, because it's a lot about feelings. life and you go to third world countries. I always feel like the best place would be some kind of middle ground. But just simply observing, I feel like so many people in the developed world are becoming kind of suffocated and choked, and it's hard to analyze what is it. In some sense, the life there is really simpler. I'm not saying easier. I think it's way more comfortable here, but that's the thing. You're choosing between simplicity or comfort. That's complex. I mean, in the best case scenario, you want both. But that's not how this world works. You can let me know in the comment section if anybody experienced moving to a country that is underdeveloped compared to where they come from. But the more we come there, year by year, it is very noticeable that even the underdeveloped world is developing very fast. In some sense, try catching up surprisingly fast, especially in the recent years, I would say. We have so many Indonesians watching us, always commenting. It's just, I want to air out that my sister is married to an Indonesian, and they live, I believe it's called Sibulangit or something like that. Medan, I'm not sure. So, hi there. We are generally a very international family. say even a few hundreds of people followed me on my past Instagram page. But at some point, like I think a year and a half ago, I really needed a break from the world of social media for my own purity of mind. It's not that social media were toxic at the time, somehow, but let's say my mindset and relationship towards it was not set well, and in some sense very compulsive, and I needed to become a offline person in some sense to establish a proper place for the social media in my life if I was to come ever back, which I did, in a much healthier approach. So if any of you in the past are still curious, I'm back on the platform of Instagram, and I'm just sharing the silly things I do daily. I've also started working, or let's say creating, that's more proper, a channel of my own where I really don't have any particular focus or topic or some kind of specialization on what the channel is about. It is more about me generally, and I've talked about, for example, when we were building a house in Kenya, about that experience. I've tried to take some vlogs when we went for holiday or something. It's basically my kind of like project where I learn to shoot